Hey, and welcome in as we are going to recap the Rio Grande Valley and Wisconsin basketball game that just happened tonight. Wisconsin pulls ahead late in this one and wins the game 87-84. Now, I want to say before we get off the jump here that Rio Grande Valley is not a bad basketball team, okay? Yes, they are a smaller school team, and that should be considered in this. And I think Wisconsin fans would tell you that they do have some concerns about the team coming out of this. The fact that Wisconsin only led this game for 7 minutes does give some concern, but I do want to preface it by saying that Rio Grande Valley is a good basketball team. They were well coached in this one, and they did have a number of playmakers who were able to do some things, and they did make Wisconsin have to adjust in this one. Wisconsin does win 87-84. They get the victory. John Blackwell with a career high 30 points in this game, and John Tonje had 19 points in this one. Wisconsin extended its unbeaten run to 5-0 now on the season, but didn't dominate as expected, especially coming off that victory against Arizona. People are very high on the Badgers coming off of that, rightfully so. It was a very good game, a lot of good shooting, a lot of good fast-paced play by Wisconsin in that one. And this one, the offense was there, but it was the defense that was lacking in a lot of areas, and it's something that Badger fans are definitely going to need to be paying attention to. We will make sure we talk about it, but first, let's start by talking about the first half. Wisconsin struggled early, shooting just 1 for 6, and they eventually got down 10-4. Defensive issues were apparent. They allowed Rio Grande Valley to average 1.55 points per possession for a good amount of the first half, which, if you know anything about points per possession, that's bad. You do not want to be allowing that many points per possession in this one. Now, John Blackwell, he did start to find his rhythm. He started using the mid-range game a little bit more, which, if you know anything about Wisconsin this year, they are trying to have that little bit more of NBA level threes and in the paint. And so John Tonje utilizing the mid-range game is huge for this one. That was what was able to get him a little bit more dialed in. John Tonje contributed on the inside, getting to the line, playing efficient basketball. He was a little quiet for points in this game, but eventually once he started, I don't want to say to wake up, but once he started being utilized more, things definitely got better for Wisconsin. You could see John Tonje has his offense turning into defense, and then vice versa. This is a team that is most likely going to utilize their offense being turned into defense this season, especially John Tonje. Xavier Amos as well. He provided early spark off the bench with 9 points, 2 rebounds in 6 minutes of play, and his offensive aggression it really stood out in this one. So that was some stuff there. We do need to talk about some of the discrepancies. Wisconsin shot 24 3-pointers in this one, and they made 28% of those. Wisconsin shot 36 2-pointers and made 41% of those, so not a great offensive shooting night percentage-wise for Wisconsin, but what did save them was the 27 free throws that they shot, and they made 27 free throws in this one out of 32. So very good free throw shooting, resilience from Wisconsin to come out on top in this one definitely needs to be noted. In addition to that, the Wisconsin had 28 points in the paint off the bench. Rio Grande Valley had 31. A lot of that was from Cliff Davis coming off the bench and his contribution, but Wisconsin only 12 points off the bench. Need to get those guys involved a little bit more. And then at the end of the day, second chance points was pretty even, but it was really the points off turnovers and the fast break that helped Wisconsin there, as Wisconsin had a 15-6 advantage in points off turnovers, even though there weren't too many turnovers in this one, and then a 14-6 advantage off the fast break. All right, let's talk about the defensive struggles, right? In the first half, Wisconsin's defense was notably weaker than in previous games. This is not a team that's really been known for defense this season, but it was still definitely a weakness, a deficiency in this game that Wisconsin needed to correct, specifically with guarding on the perimeter. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that was something that was very difficult for Wisconsin to overcome. A lot of open drives to the hoop, not a whole lot of rim protection when guys were getting by other guys. Like I said, Rio Grande Valley did a very good job with the game plan, spreading things out, not allowing Crowl or Winters or any of those guys really challenge too much on the inside. And overall, they allowed Rio Grande Valley to shoot over 50% in the first half. I believe it was somewhere around 65% in the first half. I should probably check that. Let me check that really fast. Yes, 20 for 32, which comes out to 62.5% in the first half, and then the second half they cooled off a whole lot more. Rio Grande Valley when they shot 11 for 31, so much better defense for Wisconsin. You'll hear some people comment on just kind of the crazy shooting effort that Rio Grande Valley had. Because yes, they were getting open shots, and you could go against Wisconsin's defense there on that thought process, but you could also just say they were making a lot of those wide open shots, really capitalizing on the opportunities that they had. Much better part of this game was the second half. Let's talk about that. Blackwell, he really started dominating the game in the second half. There was a run that Wisconsin went on of 13 points at one point, and Blackwell scored 11 of those 13 points. Max Klesmet really started to come alive in the second half, hit a crucial mid-range jumper, added some defensive energy, especially down the stretch. That was another key piece to them coming back in the second half. And John Tonje, like I mentioned, he came through, had some clutch free throws at the end, and a three-pointer helped secure the lead in the final minutes. Some guys that need to be pointed out on the defensive end. Kamari McGee, he had a critical stop on Hassan Abdul Hakim late in the game, and then Carter Gilmore as well. This was a game where you didn't get the defensive effort out of Winters and Crowl that maybe you had hoped for, and so Kamari McGee and Carter Gilmore being able to come into the game and help that a little bit more was good for them. You also had to see Wisconsin play small in the second half. That was something that I felt like Greg Gard could have gone to sooner in the game, but he seemed to be reluctant to it in the first half, and then in the second half he really bought into it more. I don't know if maybe that was just some coaching he wanted to do in the locker room, specifically with John Tonje, who was playing the four for good amounts of this game, which was impressive for him to be able, impressive to see him be able to be utilized in that way. Again, this is Rio Grande Valley Rio Grande Valley. I'm not acting like they're some world beater, they're some awesome team or something like that, but they did give Creighton a 12-point game. They were semi-close to Nebraska. Nebraska did blow them out eventually, but this is a team that obviously is well coached, and they had a good game plan going into this one. Let's talk about some pros. Wisconsin's balance on offense. This team showed versatility on offense with contributions from multiple players. Tonje, Blackwell, Amos. You had... Let me check the full game stats. There we go. Like I said, 30 points from Blackwell, 11 from Klesmet, 19 from Tonje. Amos had 9, but that was basically all you got off the bench was Amos giving you 9. Winters did give you 6, and Crowl did give you 9, but overall, like I said, these guys were not super impactful for the game. This was a game where you really had the backcourt doing a lot of the damage for Wisconsin in this one, and you needed it, especially with the free throw shooting. Wisconsin shot 32 free throws in this one. Tonje himself went 10 for 10. Klesmet 4 for 4. Crowl 3 for 4. Blackwell 6 for 8. And Winter was 2 for 2. So in your entire starting lineup there, you shot, 10, 8, 28. You shot 28 free throws and only had 3 misses. That's pretty impressive coming from your starting lineup, and definitely something that this team can lean on a little bit more. Especially going down the stretch in games, trying to get themselves to the free throw line. That definitely is helping. And like I said, just the resilience overall. I know that's kind of coach speak sometimes, but it is something you want to continue to see out of teams, and you want to see them care. You want to see them fight for each other, and you saw that one. You saw that in this one against UTRGV. Keep messing up with that name. Wisconsin's cons, like I said, perimeter defense was an issue. One of the biggest issues in this for Wisconsin this season is they don't have an elite perimeter defender. They didn't have somebody that they could put on a Cliff Davis. They didn't have somebody they could put on, what was his first name? Miller, the number 25. They didn't have somebody they could put on some of these smaller guys in what they were able to do against Wisconsin in this one. And so when you don't have like a lockdown defender or somebody that you can utilize in those situations, it really extends a lot of energy and a lot of aggression off of certain players. And you were asking guys like Max Klesmet, John Tonje to really guard these guys. John Blackwell is a good defender. He just didn't really seem to have it in this one. And Rio Grande Valley was doing a very good job of getting the better defenders off of guys and putting putting worse defenders on them. Thankfully, in the last possession of the game, Wisconsin was able to get Blackwell on Abdul. What was his? Abdul Hakim. Couldn't remember his last name there for a second. They were able to get him on him, which it was a size advantage, but John Blackwell is just that good of a defender that he was able to wall up and force a tough shot for Abdul Hakim, and he did miss it. I did think he had the pass over Blackwell. He didn't utilize it. I thought there was a guy right there under the basket he could have passed to, but at the end of the day, he didn't utilize it, and they missed, and the rebound was to Tonje. It was either Tonje or Blackwell. I can't remember who got that final rebound at the end of the game. And then they shot free throws, and then it was all over from there. Only 2 seconds left in the game. There wasn't much else. There was a half court, a little bit over half court shot that they tried to take that did not go in. Crowl, he did struggle in this one. Crowl had a lackluster performance. He was 3 for 7 shooting and 2 rebounds in the first half, and he finished the game with 3 for 7 shooting on the entire game and only 5 rebounds. John Blackwell was actually the leading rebounder in this game with 7 rebounds. You weren't going to get this win today without John Blackwell. Coming in with 30 points, 7 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. He also led the team there. 3 assists. He only had 1 turnover, and he played 38 minutes in this game. John Blackwell was huge for them. Him coming off the bench last year to now being this major contributor, at least in this game. We'll see what it's like going forward, but that is huge for this Wisconsin team. And if you're looking for any positive to come out of this game, obviously you got the win, but if you're looking for any positive in this game, you look at John Blackwell and how he was able to step up and be that leader for the team. And then the other con that I have is it stays on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive inconsistencies. The first half defense allowed way too many easy drives, open looks, putting unnecessary pressure on the offense to keep pace. I think there was at one point when it was like 9 of 10 possessions in the first half Wisconsin scored on, and they were still down 4 points. It was just that kind of night where you put so much pressure on your offense to continue to produce. And even when they were producing at really good rates, like I said, like 9 of 10 possessions, maybe it was 8 of 9, but it was very close, somewhere up there where they only missed on 1 shot, and they put them in bad situations, and it was difficult for Wisconsin to overcome. And once you saw the defense really lock down and start making the other team miss some shots, that's when you really saw this team come alive. Pointed out some of the guys before, but we'll just point them out one more time. John Blackwell, like I said, career night, 30 points, showing his maturity and his leadership in tough moments. I really like what I saw of John Blackwell tonight, and I think this could be a stepping stone for him and the rest of the team. John Tonje, he was reliable in the clutch. Like I said, took him a little bit of a while to get going, but once he did start going, he proved to be a huge piece for this team. Xavier Amos was really the only factor coming off the bench that was able to score and able to do all that much. 3 for 6 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, 3 rebounds in this one, 1 assist, 2 personal fouls, and 1 steal. So overall, felt like the performance for Amos was pretty good coming off the bench, but you can always be better, and you're going to need other guys coming off the bench to be better. I know I gave Kamari McGee and Carter Gilmore their props for being able to come off the bench and play defense, but Carter Gilmore played 20 minutes and Kamari McGee played 21 minutes, and you got 0 points from both of them. In 21 minutes, McGee gave you 0 for 2 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 personal fouls, and 1 steal. Carter Gilmore, he gave you in 20 minutes of play 0 points, 0 for 2 in free throws, 5 rebounds, 3 personal fouls, and 1 turnover. That was just kind of the contributions of what you got from those players. Not just those players, but really most of the players who played down low in this one. It's a good job by Rio Grande Valley. Steven Crowl, another big man. Just a disappointing game for him. He failed to assert himself in the post despite a clear size advantage at times. Gives you some concern about what is going to be going on against certain teams that play a little bit more physical down low. I'm thinking of teams like Indiana and what they've been able to do. Maybe a team like Illinois, who their physicality seems to be growing as they continue to go. Now they still need to play a better team this season, but we'll see how that goes as their competition increases throughout the regular season. But overall, you got away with the win, Wisconsin. Got away with the win. That's what's important. The the keys of the game was basically John Blackwell. John Blackwell produced. He gave you what you needed. Look for signs of improvement on the defensive end. Look at that perimeter defense. What are they going to be able to do, and how are they going to be able to guard these guys? Do they continue to switch? Do they have good communication coming off screens? That was another big thing tonight. Rio Grande Valley was really able to utilize bad screen communication between Wisconsin and get some of those open lanes. Next game is against UCF, and UCF is no pushover. UCF is 3-0 on the year. They defeated in their season opener at Texas A&M. They defeated Texas A&M, who did take down Ohio State, who did beat Texas earlier in the season. They also beat Purdue, FW, not the actual Purdue, and then Florida Atlantic as well. So big game coming up. That's on the 22nd for Wisconsin. Can they improve their defense? Can they get better? I think they will. We'll see as they get there. Thanks so much for watching. Check us out on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time for our live show where we talk everything Big Ten, every single team, and then catch us. I didn't put it there at the bottom, but on Monday mornings, 10 a.m., our power rankings episode. I just had Wisconsin power rate second in the Big Ten this past week. I don't know if this game will impact things. We'll have to see what happens with some other teams that went on, but we are definitely going to be taking a look at every single team in the Big Ten, commenting on all of them, giving all of them time to discuss them a little bit and do our power rankings show. Typically about 30 to 40 minutes long, and it's always a good time. Me and my guy Kent, casual Big Ten. Thanks so much for watching. We do appreciate it. Have a good one.